Oh, look at those fat bellies. Now you'll immediately notice that 4 of the cubs are actually suckling from the females. And that's because they're not 100% weaned just yet. So, from what I'm told from Louise, there is supposed to be 8 cubs, but there are only 5 cubs in the sighting, so we're missing 1 female's cubs. And I would imagine that the cubs that are busy nursing from their mothers are those particular mothers' cubs, even though all the lioness here can share nursing duties. So we've got 2 more playing there, just 1 more. Ah, yes, there are a few more lions popping out of everywhere. So we're now only missing 1, right? Have a look at them fighting over the milk. Watch there. The 3rd cub has just decided to come and join in and is now pushing himself open a place. No, decided that it's much better just lying on mom. Right, well, we just get into a better position. We're just going to send you over to Brent, who's got a 5-inch for you. The worst looking lion cubs in Africa, you say, Brent? I must say, I actually half agree with you, to be quite honest. They are pretty manky, these poor little things. I was just saying to David now, they must be, they are just one itch ball after another. This mange that they have creates in it, it's the way it spreads really, it creates the most unbelievable skin irritation. And all I want to do is just cover them in moisturizing cream and tie their legs to the floor, put them in straitjackets, but oh, shame. But they are enjoying themselves. I mean, I must be honest, these females are very tolerant of their cubs nursing at the moment, and that's because with full bellies they have enough energy to produce enough milk for all of their babies. These babies are not fully weaned just yet. That'll happen at around about 8 months about when these cubs will be fully weaned. And up until that point, although they will still augment themselves with milk. And then they'll stop being these round little fluffy balls of fun, and they end up being these raggedy looking teenagers basically, with legs that are too big for them, and they have to fight their way into carcasses, and they go through a little bit of a downer between 9 months and 1.5 years, to be honest. These lions couldn't have picked a better shady tree, and I think that's exactly probably why they came down here. It's nice and open, meaning there's going to be a lot of wind blowing here today. Plus, they've got this fantastic acacia tree that they're now under. So it's going to be really deep shade the whole day. And I think they are just going to lie here probably until late tonight. There's a chance they'll have to go and drink water. The females might want to drink some water. They might get a bit thirsty producing all the milk that they do. In which case they'll move off to the closest water point to have some water and carry on. Matthew, all the way from Michigan. Hello, Matthew. You've just asked me if these lions have the same sharp teeth as your house cats. They do, Matthew, although on a much, much larger scale. If you hold up your forefinger and you literally hold it in front of your face, that's how long the longest tooth is of a lion. About 5 centimeters and about as long as your forefinger. And probably thicker than your thumb at its root. So definitely big teeth. Sharp, maybe not as pointy. I mean, they're definitely sharp enough to puncture anything, but they are not as needle-like as what a house cat's would be. But definitely sharp enough with the amount of bite force that these lions can generate to basically go in and hold on into almost anything. Maybe not elephant skin. So Ziati, same as me, and going, how are they going to get rid of this mange? What is going to happen to this pride? Ziati, it's not uncommon for mange to attack almost any mammal, and generally what happens is it's when their immune systems are low. Mange is a type of mite, a skin mite, that feeds on the skin of these animals, basically making it itch like crazy and causing them to lick and scratch all their fur off. And because they are contact species, they pass it from one to another through social grooming. Now, these cubs, as soon as their immune systems pick up again, they should be able to shake off the mange. It may leave a scar or two. We will notice that in some cases giraffe are left with quite ugly scars. I have seen a completely bald impala before as well. And kudu every now and again have mange spots on them as well. So they might find that there's a scar or two on their ears in particular. With lions at least, their ears seem to take an absolute hammering. And they may have a hairless tail for a bit and some hairless patches on their bellies. But to be honest, I think that they will pull through. Mange can kill a cub that doesn't pick up condition. So cubs that are not in good condition, mange can cause such a system shutdown or overload that it will kill them. But it's rare. I would say that with the dry season in full swing, three lioness in this pride, plus a male that's stable at the moment, in an area that they have long been part of, I don't think that these particular lions have anything to worry about. Not from mange, at least, anyway. From other things, yes, but not from mange. What worries me is this little cub that's lying alone at the end of the tree stump there. He looks to be in the worst condition of all of them. Or she looks, I don't quite know what sex it is. May just be that little lion cub is lying in the sun, went for a game on top of the stump, had a little bit of a game, and then got tired, decided to have it. I mean, that's always possible. But lion cubs that lie far away from their siblings and far away from their moms, of a cat that's not feeling well, is this moving away and seclusion. So I'll keep my eye on that little guy and see what he gets up to, or what she gets up to during the sighting. Exactly, Anna-Marie, you're saying these poor itchy babies, what a contrast to the Nkuhuma cubs who just are thriving at the moment. What I'd like to say about that, yes, it is a contrast, but it's not unheard of and not uncommon. About a year ago, maybe a bit more, it was last year, April, I went to go and see the Super Pride in the Kruger National Park on its eastern side, which comprised at that point 46 lions in one pride. There was a breakaway, 22 of the lions broke away, and the remainder of the pride, so the other 24 lions, were split into an even amount of females with almost an even amount of cubs, and the one split completely mange-ridden like this, and the other split not. Even though, and this is where it was such an amazing thing for me, even though they joined one another, the whole pride joined one another on a buffalo kill. I watched 46 lions inhale a buffalo in about an hour and a bit, maybe a bit more, hour and 30 minutes. A buffalo was finished with manky cubs on the one side of the buffalo and pristine cubs in the other side of the buffalo. And the only conclusion I could draw was the fact that the cubs went through a little bit of a downer with so many mouths to feed. They just couldn't catch enough food to feed them all in one night, and half the pride got mange. And the other half stayed healthy, and therefore they didn't pick it up. But Brent has found himself a buffalo. We're going to stay here with this pride. And there you just got the big man lowering his head after giving us a baleful stare there. He's been unconscious since we got here, and now he's decided to sleep again. The one mom has just literally sat up and just stopped the feeding. Have a look at that cub, just enjoying mom's comfort. You can see that constant licking of the cub on the right-hand side. That is just a hallmark of this mangy disease. Like I said, just before you left to go to Brent's buffalo, I think that they will pick up condition very soon. It's the time of year that lions really thrive, is these dry times when there's lots and lots of prey around. And I think once the mom's milk is fortified with all the minerals that she can put into it and all the vitamins she can put into it, plus a good diet of meat and low stress, not walking kilometer after kilometer every single night, and with the fact that there's a Birmingham male with this particular pride, I find that I predict that they're going to pick up condition, and hopefully in a couple of weeks they'll have all their hair back and would have managed to weather the storm from this mange attack. You can just see them there. They're just constant. When they're not feeding, they're just constantly licking. So Judy, you've asked if there was mud available, would these lions take a mud bath to relieve the itch? Unfortunately, no, Judy. Lions very reluctantly enter water. They do it, but they very reluctantly enter water. And even less so, mud. Mainly because it just takes such a long time to clean off. The only relief that they're giving themselves at the moment is just this constant licking and scratching. So I would imagine that it eases. Excuse me, gee whiz. Please excuse. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. I try and keep it away from the microphone, but to be honest, I don't know where to turn it. They sneak attack me. So they just scratch, and they scratch one another, and they lick one another, and they look for consolement from their mates and from their litter mates and from their moms. And it really just is a bit of a sad affair, but it's not really that dangerous. Yeah, this male's just stuck his head up again. Something is bothering him at the top of this hill. We're in a depression here, and I can't see what it is, but he's hearing something. I'm sure whatever it is will make itself known to us in not too distant future. Hi, Hannah. Hannah, you're a new viewer, and you've just asked us a question. Firstly, I just want to say welcome to the Wild Earth family, welcome to Safari Live, and welcome to the community. And I'm sure you'll be welcomed with open arms. And you've asked me a question: Are there any lions here with manes? I would imagine that the question comes from the fact that you want to see a male lion with a big mane. And yes, we've got one right here. Let me show you what a mane is. A mane is that ruff of hair that you see around a male lion's neck and head. That is what you're looking at right there, that furry bit around his head. He'll stick his head up just now, and I hope I'll show you the full majesty of what that actually is. If you're asking a slightly more complex question, are there any female lions here with manes? Not in the Kruger National Park that I've seen. However, I have seen maned female lions in both Etosha and in Botswana's Moremi National Parks. So I have seen female lions with manes. What causes it, I don't know. At the time, I was just told that it was this pride that has females that do so well that they grow manes. You know, I don't know. I don't know why a female lion would grow a mane. I suppose I don't even want to warrant a guess. I want to call it testosterone. I want to call it maybe some inbreeding, but I don't actually know. I mean, the lions in Botswana do very well, so I can't imagine it would be inbreeding. And why a female lion in one area over another would all of a sudden have a testosterone increase that'll give her a mane, I'm not too sure. So I don't actually know the answer to that question. But if you're just asking about a mane, then this male here has one, and a glorious one at that. Not as big as what it will be eventually one day. He's still a fairly young male. And their manes, their black hairs that you see, the long black hairs that you can see poking out of the mane, the yellow ruff, closer to the right-hand side, that is his true mane coming through. And that is definitely as a testosterone response. And he gets an increase in testosterone because he's the dominant male of a pride. His body reacts to that. And this overt maleness, for lack of a better word, increases those testosterone levels, and he gets this black ruff of a mane. Not all male lions have black manes. Some male lions have gloriously blonde manes. But I have read in some literature that females are more attracted to males with manes, and then males with black manes are more attractive to the lady lioness. The lion just rolling over. Joey, all the way from Australia, good afternoon to you, Joey. You've just asked me if male lions ever play with their cubs. Not as often as what females do, but yes, they will have a rough and tumble and a wrestle every so often. But they do like to hold themselves aloof, and it's generally just very rarely, I would say maybe when they're walking, a male lion will try and trip one of his cubs, or he'll submit to a bit of a wrestling match for a little bit of time. So they do it, but not to the same degree that lioness will. Lioness will sometimes play with their cubs. They teach them how to hunt, and they wrestle with them a little bit. But their real playmates are just their litter mates with one another. They're endless games. They play hide and go seek. They hunt together. They wrestle with one another. They play fight. They chase things. They share things, share twigs. So generally their playmates are their litter mates, not really the adults. The adults have got parenting to do, not playing. Now the reason why this lioness rolled over a little bit earlier was the fact that she's got all this meat sitting in her small intestine, tummy and small intestine at the moment, and there's not much that's helping that meat move around. So what she does is she rolls over every now and again just to help the meat move through the intestine. It's a vast quantity of meat that they can eat. They can eat up to a quarter of their body weight in one sitting. So think about that. You're a male lion that weighs 400 pounds. You can pack away a quarter of that, so 100 pounds of meat, into your belly at any one sitting. Now, 100 pounds of meat. Just think about that in how much meat you buy for your family once a year. So how many cubs have we got here? We've got 3 cubs with the one lioness, 2 with the other, and then we've got 2 cubs lying on their own under a branch here. So that would, by my maths, make it 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, 8. Am I 8? Let's count them together. There's 1, 2 there. 3, 4, 5, 6 that I can see, with a 7th one, I think, lying on the other side of this mom's belly. Why don't we go and see? Let's reverse the car a little bit. You hold on tight. We're just going to start the car. Well, the wish was that I start the car. Indy this morning, looking for the Djuma Pride that we did. I wasn't quite sure we didn't do some damage to her. I haven't got quite the same commitment to the artwork of a Land Rover that Brent Leo Smith does. There we go, we're in a bit of a better position there. And also to give Hannah a bit of a better view of that mane along the back of the lion's neck. I'm worried about these cubs that are on their own. Hey Dave. We'll have a look at them just now. We'll go and see if they flicker an eyelid in a bit. You can see that this is typical cub behavior. What we're looking at here, literally feeding in close contact with one another, lying in the sun on the outskirts, but close to mom nevertheless. Have a look at that one, busy licking. The one on the right-hand side, busy just cleaning his feeding area. Full, too full to eat anymore, but still still in control. Right, Brent Leo Smith seems to be scratching around in the ground for something, and I think it would be good to sneak up on him to show you what he's doing. The scruffiest of them all has now managed to stand up and is now approaching mom for a drink, and I'm very happy at that. You know, a sick cub won't drink. It's a male cub, I think. Let me just double check there. Oh, shame. And he's skinnier than his brothers. I think he's taking a bit of a hammering from this mange. There we go. There's mom. There we go. Find it. There we go. Come on. Latch properly. He's just trying to get the flow of milk going. It'll take a few pulls to get the flow going. I wonder if she's actually still even producing on that side. She should be. There you go. There, and he's latched properly there now. Quite often, if you look very carefully, you can actually see the milk bubbles coming out the side. Books to give. You've just said that, and quite rightly so, it's a nice observation here, is that there's only 7 cubs. They may have lost one. I tend to agree with you. I think that it's a high probability that one cub is gone. On a carcass the size of a buffalo, on the length of time that these lions would have spent eating on it, it would have been a very quick thing for a mother to fetch a sick cub and bring her to a carcass. Or bring it to a carcass so that it would feed on the carcass and get some milk from her. So I think that there's a high probability that cub would have died. And this one that walked in from the side that's looking so crusty, although this one that's just rolled over you're looking at is looking even crustier than his brother. Shame. Oh, shame. Anyway. Like I said, full bellies, you can see there, very full bellies. It's a young male. I'm just going to try and get your name right here. I think it's Arathusa Fox. You're a relatively new viewer who's been watching for... You've been watching for a few months now, or a few weeks now, and you've become so fond of these cubs, and you've wanted to ask a question that pops up perennially. Would we help one of the characters that forms such an integral part of our narrative and our story out here? Would we help A, and would we film it, B, I think is the last portion of your question there. Would we help a cub. This is such a grey area here, but the general rule of thumb. Oh, would we film it? Excuse me. Would we film it? Absolutely, we would film it. The birth and the death of these characters of ours, they're not really ours. This is just the lion pride that we've gotten to know quite well because they live in the area that we live in. And they have a different lifespan. They have a different way of going about their lives than what we do. And we portray that, all the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we will absolutely film it. And although it won't be nice to watch and it'll be very sad and, it can get quite graphic and quite heart-wrenching, it's part of our responsibility out here to share that with you. We don't want to hide anything from you. We don't hide anything from you as our community and as our family, basically. We want to share all the things, all the trials, all the tribulations, all the successes, all the defeats. And that's how we make it part of the family, And it's inevitable. Cubs are going to get born, and cubs are going to die, and cubs are going to grow up and watch their parents die, and males are going to come and go and create instability and kill lionesses and then father new lionesses. It's all just part of the lion story. It's something that we need to just follow and keep up to date with you. I don't know if you've been watching for long enough, but to know that these Styx lionesses about a year ago had cubs that were roughly the same age as the ones that you're looking at right now. And one of the Birmingham males, possibly even the one that you're looking at right now, killed all their cubs and then walked around with a dead cub in his mouth for a day, and alternatively fed on a carcass and then mouthed this dead cub. And now we're looking at him very peaceful, the sire of his own cubs. They're the same age, and although they're a little bit moth-eaten or mite-eaten at the moment, they are generally in good health, as are their moms. And so that we needed to show you, and we did show you over all the months from then to now. And it's just part of their story. One cub has now died. We don't know how it died. I don't know how it died. The most common causes of cub mortality out here are hyena and leopard, other lion first, so predation, and then exposure and starvation. So exposure and starvation, and then disease. So it could have gotten sick very easily and died quite quickly. As easily as it could have been left behind and got eaten by a hyena, or bitten by a snake, or was a bit hungry, or this mange just got to him very quickly on a down day and ended it for him. Connie, all the way from Wisconsin, has asked me, when would the authorities step in with medicine? Wow, that's an interesting question, Connie. I mean, we obviously would help if an animal is rabid, if we could. And we did that with Sindile the leopard. We didn't just leave him to his own devices. We'd obviously do it for wild dog and for cheetah because they are so critically endangered. If it's in our power to help, we will. Lion, I mean, we've helped snared lions before, quite often with medication. We've helped a lion that lost his eye once in a fight, so nothing man-made. So, let me answer the question like this. If it's within our power and it's a vet condones it, one of the sand parks or one of the park vets condone it, they will help. If they don't think it's viable or feasible or valuable enough, they won't. If that makes a decision, it's left up to the scientific community, not up to us. If that makes it a bit easier to understand, I know for me, just trying to rationalize through what I've experienced in the past. Taking it away from cats even, we've helped an elephant that was in a fight. And elephants, especially male elephants, the Kruger National Park is reluctant to help. But this particular elephant on that particular day received help from one of the vets in the park. So yeah, I think it's up to the local vets. It's the decision is up to him to make. We just feed them information, and if they decide that it's worthwhile doing, then they do it. So obviously they're scientists and highly trained scientists, and they are able to make up a decision based on rational facts and figures. This little cub's got something sticking out the side of his... Looks like his hip, to be honest. These cubs are skinny, you know. Oh, that's a little cub that was lying here behind us. He's now gone to a different female. No, it's the same female. She just moved. Same female. She just moved. So that's his mom. He's a bit skinny. I think that's why he looks so bedraggled. But he's now with mom, with milk, with a full belly. Lions have the most remarkable recuperating ability. Literally, you don't understand how skinny and how terrible they can get and recover from virtually nothing. So there's good hope for these cubs, at least from a nutrition point of view and getting over the mange. But from the Styx Lioness and Birmingham Boy and all their offspring, and from myself and from Dave, we just want to say thank you for joining us on Safari today. It's been a real pleasure hosting you again. There's a picture of the male lion for Hannah and his beautiful mane. And with him looking up in the sky at all these vultures flying around, leaving the carcass, we're also going to say our goodbyes. We will see you again this afternoon at 3 o'clock Central Africa time. And from us to you, wherever you are in the world, have a pleasant day further.